You're listening to episode 557 of the Father Bills Podcast. Welcome back. This week's episode is entitled Go and Evangelize, given on the 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time, 2016. Well, I've told this story before, and if you remember it, just indulge me and just remember it was funny. That's good enough for me. So there was a situation where there were three deacons, and they were chatting after church one day. Imagine a church with three deacons. And one Sunday, their pastor came up to them and asked, when you are in your casket and your friends and family are mourning over you, what would you like them to say? Well, the first said, I would like them to say that he was a wonderful husband. Remember, deacons can be married. And a great spiritual leader and a great family man. The second deacon said, I would like to have that they would say something like, he was a wonderful teacher and a servant of God and made a huge difference in people's lives. The third deacon said, I'd like them to say, look, he's moving. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for the laughter. But today, the gospel depicts Jesus sending out 72 disciples and, in effect, telling them to get moving. Don't stick around. Don't stay here. Go get moving. Go. See, we too are called to share the good news to a world that desperately needs it. Just think about where our culture is and how far off it has departed from basic Christian principles and morals. Just think about that. I mean, there's a great difference now than ever before. Here's for an example. Last week, and this is from the scriptures, we heard from St. Paul to the Galatians, for freedom Christ set us free. That was one of the first phrases in there. Stand firm and do not submit to the yoke of slavery. For you are called for freedom, brothers and sisters, but do not use this freedom as an opportunity for the flesh. Rather, serve one another through love. I just love this reading. For freedom, Christ set us free. Now, we will then, I hope, all agree, well, freedom is good for us, right? This weekend is July 4th weekend, and we think about our independence, and when we think about our independence, we think of freedom, right? Well, we all want to be free. But we also know that the greatest freedom comes from submitting ourselves to Christ. Or I hope we all know that. And if you don't, take this as a gospel truth. For you hear it in the scriptures. He came to set us free. So that means we're to make him the center of our lives. And that means then everything we do should be in some way a recognition of him or in reflection of him. The love and grace that comes from a personal relationship is beyond all treasure. Yet it would seem that many of us have maybe purposely hidden that treasure or embarked on a different path. Or we're embarrassed to speak about our treasure. Maybe we hid it underneath a rock or something. Do we not believe that Christ is the way, the truth, and the life? Do we not believe that he is the incarnation of God, the second person of the Blessed Trinity? Do we not believe that he sacrificed himself on the cross for us? Then let us be emboldened to share the good news, this good news. Be not afraid of what other people will say, for the truth you share and show is an important part of someone else's salvation. Have you ever thought about it that way? What you say, what you do, can affect someone else if they're open to it, especially if it is the gospel that we're proclaiming. So we need to go out and evangelize. We need to let people know that there is freedom, true freedom, and it comes from Jesus. Of course, we shouldn't be doing this by beating them over the head with guilt or uncharitable behavior, but with gentleness and compassion and mercy. And in fact, that's what Pope Francis is telling us if you've not figured this out. So what is the most potent way to evangelize? Well, even an evangelization committee for this, but it's hard. Let me offer you this thought. Our words are important. What we say matters. But our actions speak louder than words. That's right. If people see our faith, and they see it as something that truly frees us, they will take note. If they see that our faith gives us peace and joy, they will be attracted to that faith. And once they approach and see the example that we have, that in giving without expecting repayment, by giving ourselves sacrificially, especially when no one is there, when we just do it because we are called to and it's in ourselves, yet they see it and they know that you're doing it not for the accolades, they may come to believe. See, our actions coupled with God's grace can be great agents for transformation in people's lives and indeed our own lives. And this is where our hope is. This is where the heart of evangelization is. The transformation of lives in Christ is our goal, and mercy is the beating heart of this good news. So not only should we live the life, we need to share that life. We need to reach out. We need to invite. We need to walk with others who are lost and seeking. But if we are not living the life ourselves, we are no better than the rest of the culture. What is going on in our culture? Well, all you need to do is go on Google, type in Grants Pass statistics, and you'll find this out. That 74% of people in Grants Pass identify themselves as nothing religiously. None. And I'm not talking about the nuns with habits. I mean nothing. It means they have no affiliation with religion whatsoever. They may be atheists. They could be agnostics. They could be secularists. Or just people that have never even considered religion or rejected it because they say that causes wars. I've heard all those things. Only 4.7% of Grants Pass identifies as a Catholic Christian. Hear that again. 4.7% of Grants Pass identifies themselves as Catholic Christians. That's pretty small. Compared to the 74% of everybody else, it's nothing. How's that going on with the rest of the churches? You take all Protestant Christian traditions together, you get a 16% rate here in Grants Pass. So there's 16% of the Christian churches, or of the population, attends or identifies themselves with a Protestant Christian church or an evangelical church. So guess what? That means we might need to think about saying something about our faith. We may not keep it to ourselves. It's not a good idea, right? People need to hear the evangelical call of the good news. But if we don't reach out and invite, if we don't ask and seek out people, some people are really looking for the truth. And you could be that person to share that with them, lest they go suffering needlessly. So we hear the scripture, the harvest is abundant. And boy, it's abundant. Look at those stats. That's a very basic stat. A statistic that says that the harvest here at Grants Pass is truly abundant. And I wonder if the laborers are few. Well, that's a decision each one of us have to make. Would you dare be an evangelist? Would you dare be one of those laborers? You just can't wait for all the priests to come. They're not all going to just fall off the priest tree and here we go, here's Father Tetzel with us, right? No, it doesn't work that way. But I'm sure he didn't come from a vacuum. We might even ask, well, do we have an environment where it encourages vocations? So would you be willing to share your faith with somebody? What makes your heart beat, which makes your soul soar in joy? Does it? I hope it does, and I hope you'll share it. Don't keep it to yourself. It's a treasure. Our culture needs the good news. The pain and suffering is immense. Last several days, there's been bombings throughout the world. The suffering is intense. All of us, though, have a hidden suffering. And for some, and probably many, it's debilitating. And they're stuck. And they're frozen, fear-filled. I mean, obviously, they may need some physical attention, some medical attention, but from our perspective, in addition to that, and probably more importantly, they need Jesus. And where are they going to come to meet him? How will they ever come to meet him? How will they ever come to know and encounter Jesus Christ, submit themselves and come to know a personal relationship with him? For we know this is the beginning of a new life. They need to encounter him in an intimate union with the Eucharist that they do not know. They need him as bread for the journey, like he is for us. And we Christians have been called to do that work. All of us, Catholic, Protestant, all of us are called to proclaim the gospel. We are his hands and his feet. Through each one of us, people are supposed to see the living God who's loving and full of mercy through us. How's it working for you? Have you looked in the mirror lately? Do people see the mercy of God in you? So remember, Christ sent out 72 disciples to share the good news. There's more than 72 people in here. Our parish has some 1,200 to 1,300 families. We are bearers of the good news. We have received him in the Eucharist and are called to go out and proclaim the gospel. Now is our turn and our time. Now is your turn and your time. So go. After Mass is over, don't go now. Still got Mass to go, but after Mass, go. God is calling you to go. How do we end the Mass? Ite mise est. Go on mission. Well, we don't do it in Latin, but that's the translation. Go out and share the joy to a world that desperately needs it. Let's go. Let's get moving. Thank you again for listening to this episode of the Father Bill's podcast. Now, before the homily, and it's not in the program that I recorded this time around, we welcomed our new parochial vicar, and his name is Father Tetzel Umingli. And he was ordained shortly about a month ago at this time when I recorded this homily, and that means he is very new. You can almost smell the oil still on his hands from the consecration of being a priest. And he's a wonderful guy. I so enjoy to have him. It's great to have especially a brand new priest. It's a great privilege that the Archdiocese would entrust me to care and also help tutor him. But you know what? Also, I'm learning stuff from him as well, because he comes right out of the seminary, and I kind of consider that the tree of knowledge that that allows me to learn some new stuff or new things that I may have forgotten. And so that's wonderful. And so I'd ask that you pray for him and all the new priests who have come into the church this year for their ministry. A lot of them are having their assignments start on July 1. That's a fiscal year for a lot of churches, a lot of archdioceses. And so that's our case for sure. And so he will be with us. And I ask that you would help him in your prayers. And if, of course, anytime you have questions about anything regarding this homily or regarding anything about the faith, you can just contact me, and that's easily done by going on Facebook. Look for me as Father William Holtzinger. You can go to my website, fatherbill.org. You can email me directly from the website. You can also email me at fatherbill@fatherbill.org, FRBILL@FRBILL.org. And also have an Instagram, which is WillieGH66, and a Twitter account that is FatherBill66, FRBILL66. And until next time, may God bless you and have a great week. Bye-bye.